Welcome back to the Dividend Diplomats YouTube channel. You've got Bert the Herd over here and Lanny, and we are representing the Dividend Diplomats, and we're here to talk to you about what the heck AT&T is doing right now and what you can do as a dividend stock investor.
You know the drill right now. Before we get into AT&T, smash that subscribe button. Give us that thumbs up. Please, every subscription and every thumbs up on our video helps as we continue to grow this YouTube channel. So thank you everyone for your support so far. We can't wait to continue bringing you videos related to dividend investing and pursuing financial freedom.
Clicking the thumb, it takes 2 seconds. Turn it blue for your boy over here, Bert.
And Lanny too.
And Lanny over here. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I want to echo Lanny's sentiment. What on earth is going on with AT&T this week? Talk about a mixed emotions here. We've had some great news from the company, and we've had some very interesting news that we are going to bring to you towards the end of this video. Why this is important to us is because AT&T is one of our favorite stocks. It's a company we've talked about a lot on this YouTube channel, and in fact, it's even one of our top 5 foundation dividend stocks. Check the video for the other 4.
There are 3 big pieces to AT&T and what you can do as a dividend investor right now into AT&T stock that has really come out and has really been in the news this past week that we want to talk about because it's important as a shareholder. You need to know what's going to happen with the dividend right now and going forward. And you want to know what is AT&T actually doing right now with their business model.
Yeah, and to echo Lanny's point here, it all comes back to the dividend and unlocking that free cash flow to continue paying that high, juicy dividend, along with growing it along the way too. And that's why every piece about AT&T is such a big deal for the company that has seen their debt balance grow over the year through their acquisitions.
So there are going to be 3 things that Bert and I are really going to dive into. And from a high level, the 3 things we're going to talk about is AT&T and HBO Max. AT&T collecting what, bids and offers?
Yeah, for DirecTV.
How much are they looking at already?
I mean, I've seen articles where it says 18 billion plus debt, so we'll see what that means and how the full details of that, because there could be a cash and debt component of this.
And then lastly, that 3rd piece of news came out on Friday, December 11th, and that was their dividend announcement. And let's just say, as shareholders, we're not too pleased.
And let's just say this is a fantastic cliffhanger, because you'll find out later what happened with that dividend. So first, let's just jump right into this HBO Max news. This was a major announcement because AT&T was a part of this, but this has major implications for the movie entertainment industry as well. Earlier in the week, it was announced that some movies will be brought directly to the consumer at the same time it's hitting the theaters via HBO Max. For HBO and AT&T, that is a huge announcement, because it's going to get people subscribing. It's a huge benefit that they offer that other sectors don't, because these movies, you don't have to wait any longer. You don't have to wait for it to be released 5 months, however many months later. You can see it the same day it's released into theaters in 2021.
And similar as you've seen with Disney and all the other streaming providers, obviously there's the beast of Netflix. This is another way that AT&T is trying to get at your monthly subscription dollars, because HBO Max is a subscription service at $15 a month.
Yeah, and it's their feature subscription service. They are kind of putting a lot of their eggs in this HBO Max bucket. So they should generate a lot of new subscriptions to allow them to compete with that Netflix and Disney Plus, as Lanny suggested. If you're a movie theater chain, it's not the best news because it disincentivizes people to go to the theaters. However, we're talking about AT&T and the impact it has on AT&T's bottom line. So that's fantastic news for us shareholders.
Of course. And I mean, AT&T had to do something. If they can't, using their theater arm, get into the theaters because of COVID and the shutdowns, this is their path. So again, it's great. They've got millions of subscribers already. Positive news. Streaming and content is king right now, as we've seen. Viacom, CBS coming together. Obviously, the split up and the buying and the selling of the Hulu position.
Yep, so they're moving in the direction, and they're moving where media and entertainment companies need to go. And this is a huge differentiator for HBO Max versus their competitors.
So millions of subscribers, HBO Max, streaming, a good revenue that could grow for sure going forward. So that's the first piece of news. But Bert, let's talk about this old $49 billion second piece of news deal that AT&T did quite a few years ago.
Yeah, chances are if you see any news about AT&T and it is going to be involving DirecTV, They paid a boatload of money for DirecTV in the past and incurred a lot of debt to do so.
I think about 17 billion in debt at least.
Yeah, and they bought it at the highest point possible, and instantly people were questioning the decision, and now we're looking at how is AT&T going to offload DirecTV and get out from this massive debt weight.
So DirecTV, you may still have it. I don't even know if they offer it as a subscription model anymore.
No, it was very awkward. They used to get you in the door with the internet, and then instead of pushing their other entertainment options, they tried to bundle it with DirecTV. It was very clunky.
And then with streaming, with everything else pretty much happening right now, they had AT&T, they had Uverse, they have AT&T now. I mean, DirecTV is pretty much, especially after the Time Warner deal that they closed on 2 years ago.
Yep.
It's like, what's the point of DirecTV?
Yeah, and that's management's reaching that conclusion there too. They've taken all the technology, everything they've needed from DirecTV. I'm sure they leveraged a lot of the IP and technology to help build HBO Max, and now they're ready to sell it off. It's been reported that they are aggressively selling and potentially at fire sale prices. That's been the rumor over the last few months, but just this last week, the Wall Street Journal put out an article saying that you'll see the headline below here at the bottom of the screen, that they have a pretty decently strong offer for $18 billion and debt being taken and assumed by the buyer as well. Who knows who that is, but we're going to learn more over the next few weeks.
So the big piece of news here in summary is that over $49+ billion purchase of DirecTV back in 2015 is now going to be offloaded more than likely for more than $15 billion plus, as well as including that buyer grabbing some of that debt off of AT&T's balance sheet.
So thinking through why this is such a big deal for us as dividend investors, they have a large interest expense associated with all of this debt. AT&T is all about unlocking that free cash flow to pay back shareholders and to increase that dividend, unloading debt, less interest, less debt payment, more free cash flow, more dividends for investors.
Yep, and there's nothing better than offloading debt assets off your balance sheet. And in that way, they can use that operating cash flow, that new cash flow that is going to be freed up to either reinvest back in the streaming business, but as Bert says, paying back the shareholders and paying down their other debt that they have on their balance sheet because, they purchased Time Warner for like $80 billion.
Yeah, that was not a cheap one either.
So that's huge news, but that's going to relate to this number 3 topic.
Yeah, Laney, you need to do 3 because you're the one that told me about this and pointed it my way. So
it was a very sad text message I sent Bert.
Yeah.
And I put no, ... or WTF, ... And AT&T announced their dividend on December 11, 2020. This is the month that they usually increase their dividend because, as you know, AT&T is a top 5 foundation stock.
Yeah, and what we've learned about Dividend Aristocrats and what we've observed over the time, their dividend increase schedules are usually pretty consistent. They don't stray too far away. So if a company
doesn't fall too far from the tree.
It does not. If you typically announce in December, every December shareholders should be able to expect a dividend increase.
And guess what? This Dividend Aristocrat announced that dividend as expected.
But
now there's the cliffhanger. It was the same dividend as last quarter. No dividend increase this year was announced. Therefore, as shareholders, the question mark brings up now on the Dividend Aristocrat status. They'll still qualify because dividends paid this year are greater than last year, but it question marks now 2021 what's going to happen.
Yeah, and there is one little caveat in this announcement that AT&T is going to announce a new capital allocation strategy in January 2021. So my gut tells me we're going to know about this dividend in a month or so. I don't know why they delayed it for a month. That's not typical, but they have new management. They've been doing a lot of new things, as we've already highlighted in this video. So maybe they're going to let the dust settle from a potential DirecTV sale, let the leaves shake out from this HBO Max deal, and take a step back, breathe, and then announce their new capital allocation plan. But those are my blue-colored glasses, the optimistic me, and what I want to see in January.
Bert loves AT&T. He's been scooping them up, month after month.
Yeah.
Here's the kicker. AT&T stock price has gone up about 10%. But what does that mean as a shareholder now? Well, AT&T still yields over 6.7%. That's fairly strong, and the dividend's safe because the dividend payout ratio is,
It's in the 60s.
yeah, the mid 60 percentile based on those analyst projections. So the dividend is still safe. The yield is still well above average. We're talking 4 to 5 times the average stock market, as well as over 10 times what you're getting in your savings accounts. So AT&T's dividend is fine. The valuation is actually still below 10 price to earnings.
Yep. So they perform very well in our dividend stock screener. I think that's what Lanny's basically saying here. Below the market PE ratio, strong dividend payout ratio, and a great dividend history, with the caveat of what's going to happen in January.
So really, you need to really focus in on the first 2 to 3 quarters of AT&T in 2021. As an investor, I'm holding.
Yeah.
And I'm not, unless AT&T gets back into that $26 to $28 range, I'm not going to buy, but I'm going to sit on my position.
Yep, I'm the same way. I'm content with my AT&T position. I don't see the need to add any more, especially now that their stock price has popped and there's this news that we're kind of in limbo waiting for it to be announced.
Right.
I'm content. Let's revisit in January when the news comes, but I'm not scared of AT&T yet.
You got positive news on the HBO Max deal, positive news on them offloading potential debt and the debt assets from DirecTV. Then you've got the questionable news from the dividend growth. And again, you know, we're going to hold our positions. It's a great time to reinvest those dividends still at 6.7% plus.
Yep. And yeah, I don't know what else to really say about that. You're going to get a lot of new fractional shares and continue getting more dividend income going forward as well. Fantastic point, Lanny.
So what are you doing with your AT&T stock? Are you buying more, selling, holding, reinvesting?
Yeah. What's your take on the news, on the 3 big stories that we featured here? I want to hear your take too, because this is just Lanny. This is just our 2 opinions. There are plenty of other ones out there, and AT&T is one of those stocks that I think everybody typically has an opinion about.
Now, AT&T has blue in their logo, so if you haven't already, turn the thumb blue by liking this video. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't.
Yep.
This is Bert and Lanny from the Dividend Diplomats.
Over and out.